Men of Reddit who are in traditionally female positions, that is elementary teacher, nurse, SAHD. What are some of the reactions commonly associated with your profession and sex? Male nurse here. More often than not, patients and family think I'm a doctor. I always get a kick out of that as I'd never want to be a doctor. I get hit on a lot. I'm an average looking guy, but wow, some of the other female nurses I work with are very flirty. This pretty much sums up male nursing experience. However, I feel that the doctor stereotype is diminishing. At least where I am there's tons of female docs. I find the patients very flirty too sometimes. I have a male cousin who is a preschool teacher. There was a petition going around to have him fired. He sued 2 people for going onto his town's forum and telling the town that he is a pedophile. I worked at a craft store and was one of the only guys there, with a mostly female customer base. While I was working the fabric cutting counter, I had a customer call a female co-worker over and have her help, saying something along the lines of, "At least we ladies know what we're doing." Yeah, I totally don't know a thing about fabric despite both of my parents running an embroidery and printed apparel business, and me working at the costume shop at one of the colleges I went to. Nope. Male elementary teacher. Last year a mom didn't want her kid in my pre-K class cause I was a guy, so they moved her. Oh well. Other than that, and some comments about how rare it is, there isn't much reaction. That's so lame. My favorite ELM teacher was male. 5th grade. Awesome guy. Had a class pet snake called Legs. In college, I was chapel organist for an all-girls private school, a position which has previously been held exclusively by females. The interesting reaction was that suddenly there were more girls than ever signing up for chapel choir and private organ lessons. Organ lessons. Degrees. I'm a male teacher at a child development center, 1 year pre-K, and I have parents give me a hard time, harass me weekly. All of the parents who have been there longer than a few months love me, especially parents of boys who don't have adult males in their life. It's for low-income families. But the new parents always hate me for being a male teacher. I had a dad question me on how I am in charge of a classroom. What do you do when a child needs their diaper changed? You're telling me they let man teachers change little girls' diapers? This dude skipped going to work and watched me for an hour, even watching over me changing his son's diaper to see if I'm a pervert or not. My aide actually left because she couldn't handle it professionally and almost told him off. He left before my boss showed up to help, but in the evening she told him he needs to register as a volunteer and do a background check if he stays more than 10 minutes. About 6 months later he apologized and said he was glad to see I'm still there. I could fill a book with all of the times I've faced discrimination for being the only male at work, but this guy sums it up pretty well. Males are pedophiles and perverts until proven otherwise in our society. At least he apologized later on. A lot of parents seem to just stick to their guns. I'm a male preschool teacher with a big manly beard and a booming voice. I help in potties and do everything my co-teachers do and have not had one bad experience. In fact, most parents, especially of boys, are ecstatic to have a male teacher in the room. One thing I have to be careful about is my tone and demeanor. I can be scary at times, I'm told. Also, I need to not get caught checking out all the sexy teachers, which is tricky. Oh boy, be careful with those other sexy teachers. I work as an administrative secretary at a university. When I started here, a lot of the older faculty thought it was weird that a male would work as a secretary. They thought I must have given up on being in upper management and settled for a lower desk job. Then they realized I was much younger than they thought and took the job for the free tuition. We've got a male administration person in our department. He's a mathematician and was originally hired to do timetabling. When he isn't doing that, he does other admin stuff. He's good at his job. While it was temporary, I volunteered in a local primary school for a while as a teaching assistant in a department of literally about 20 females. They didn't even mention it, but the kids went berserk from excitement and all wanted to work with me more because I was a guy, so had different views on things, I guess. I'd go out on the playground, the kids started a big conga line behind me to follow me about on duty. Now I'm a proper teacher in a secondary school. It's pretty good. Years ago I was hired to be a personal trainer at a gym, but it just happened that the girl who worked the daycare quit that same day, so I agreed to fill in the position until they hired another daycare person. At first the mothers who brought their kids in were like deer in headlights when they saw me in there. Most of them asked questions about if I was qualified or understood how to act with kids, and all of them made a point to stop their workouts periodically to make sure I hadn't, like, set their kids on fire or something. I'd probably be more offended if it weren't for the fact that I really didn't know much about kids. But fast forward a week into the job and they all freaking loved me. I gave the best motherfucking airplane rides that very few girls could compete with. Once they saw that the kids really looked forward to hanging out with me in there, the mothers relaxed and even asked for my schedule so their kids could visit me while they worked out. The only real downside was that the fact I ended up being good at the daycare meant that the boss neglected to find a replacement and I never got to do any personal training at that job. Male high school Spanish teacher. Only male in the department. Only white person in the department. The reactions can vary from intrigue, a white person speaking near native Spanish, to why is a gringo teaching Spanish to me? They've probably never heard of Spain. As a male nurse I tell my patients everybody wants a hot blonde female 20-something taking care of them. Well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, right? Stay at home dad for half the year. My favorite part is taking my son to the Applebee's I would go to when I'm working. Usually I'd come in dirty and sweaty and the female bartenders and servers would chat me up. Bringing in my son while dressed more casually ups the attention tenfold. I'm a male X-ray technician. It's about 70-30% female-male ratio at least where I am. It's always funny when some guys' faces of all ages fall a little bit when I walk in the room because despite their injuries at least they may get to look at an attractive female X-ray tech and now they can't. Where I am from 90% of X-ray techs are burly guys in their 40s from former Yugoslavia. The remaining 10% are their wives. Male elementary school teacher. It's not a big deal. When I started, some of the other teachers and kids said they were excited to finally have a male teacher. The only negative reactions I've gotten were from guys who work in more traditionally masculine fields, but it doesn't bother me. We definitely need more male teachers. I have been a stay-at-home dad for a few years now. When I first started, my girls were pretty young still. They were about 5, 3, and 1.5 years old. I can't remember how many times women made comments or did that passive-aggressive thing where they ask a child, who can't speak well yet, a rhetorical question aimed at me. Oh dear, where are your shoes? Did daddy forget to put shoes on you? It's summer lady. She's in a stroller. Or things like exiting the grocery store and an older lady comes up to me while I'm getting my girls to hold hands and look for cars in the lot. Are you okay? Do you need some help? I wasn't upset or yelling at them. I didn't look stressed out and about to lose it with my kids. But the tone of voice is the killer in these situations. It's pure condescension. You know, the voice is in the upper register with a big fake smile, drawing out the words all sing-song like. This is the female version of mansplaining. I call it being an askhole. The moms that I am around on a regular basis are all cool and don't do it, but it used to happen quite a bit. It must be that women think men can't adequately care for small children, babies. They feel like the subject matter experts and will insert their snide questions and comments to try and make someone feel inadequate or like they aren't doing a good job parenting. Basic ass moms. People regularly ask me if I'm babysitting or playing Mr. Mom just because I'm with my kids during the daytime. No, I'm just a dad doing dad things. I'm a male nurse. The only people who give me crap are the ones who really don't know what nurses do. They tend to shut up when I tell them that the army trained me to be nurse. Nice. Well, all the females in my office come to me to talk about each other. My brother in arms, 35 women and me in the office. I used to work at a daycare. I was not allowed to help a kid in the bathrooms or be alone in a room with a kid, not matter the circumstances, but that rule didn't apply to the women. Though people are saying how frick that is, I am a male at a preschool and I have been accused of molesting a child. As crappy as it is, it's also to protect yourself. Just got my BSN. Fresh out of nursing school. I currently work as a CNA while trying to break through to my first nursing job. My nursing class was about 65% female, 35% male, and that was considered high. A lot of people ask me when I'm gonna be a doctor or if I've ever wanted to be a doctor. I have an aunt who's a pediatrician who straight up asked me why I want to be a doctor's assistant and why I picked a girl's job. I always thought she'd be more empathetic being a woman in what's seen as a male-dominated field, but I guess not. I get a lot of questions asking why I want to be a nurse. This is usually par for the course being young and out of nursing school, but I can't help but notice I get the question more than women. I also know a lot of people are genuinely curious and don't mean anything by it, but I can't help but get defensive when it usually follows the "why aren't you, do you plan to be a doctor" questions. On occasion I get requests by patients to not be taken care of by male nursing staff, which I feel is completely understandable. I can't say I'm totally guilt-free though. I once shadowed on a unit where all staff was required to wear the same scrubs. I approached a Filipina girl and called her nurse only for her to tell me she's the resident. Healthcare's just very entrenched in its gender roles in general, but it's slowly changing. I've been to emergency departments where the nursing staff was majority male, but you still have your completely female dominated specialties like OB, labor and delivery. Nowadays you do have more men becoming nurses and women becoming doctors, which is great, but it's still gonna take a while for the public view to change. I'm male and worked in a daycare when I was in high school. Multiple mothers went to owner and asked that I not change their children. I thought it very weird at the time, but it worked out great for me. I just handed kids with dirty diapers or who had soiled themselves to female staff. On one level that's super insulting, but on the other, that's a world of crap you avoided. I teach gymnastics. I've had a few negative reactions and have gotten some stares, but once they get to know me they usually love me. All the kids love me too. I love that job. Home daycare provider for 15 years. Stay-at-home dad for 17 years. My wife started working with me just a few years ago, but I've encountered some people who assume it's her job and I just help out, but that's kind of expected. The first mom though who sent me her children, she became a personal friend later, admitted to me that when she started her kids at my daycare she told people he's great with kids, but if he ever touches them inappropriately I'll kill him. Well, I would kill anyone who did that too. But if I was a woman, would they have thought that way? Probably not. I work in a library. I'm told that's sexy. Must only be theoretical, because it's been an 8-month dry spell. Hey, male nurses are pretty common today. I get told that I'd make a good doctor a lot, which seems to happen more to males than females. The best experience I've had with a nurse was a male nurse. He was calm and comforting, and made me feel safe when nothing else did, but then I ruined it by telling him he had nice hair. I'm a teen who works as a daycare staff member at the local boys and girls club. It gives me job security. All of the kids love having a guy around. I'm a male English teacher in secondary. The only reason I say this is due to the fact that as a teen I only had female English teachers. My school has 4 full-time English teachers, all of which are male. There is a bit of venom thrown at us by female counterparts, and same as others, no students alone in the class, and I'm very careful when discussing some ideas like sex and Gatsby. All of whom are male. FTFY English teacher. I worked in a ceramics art studio for a good 5 years while in college. One of those paint-it-yourself places. We would do birthday parties and about once a month I would have a mom ask for a female co-worker because they can connect with the kid better. Yeah, okay. Don't mind me over here able to recite Pinkalicious forward and backward. I only just realized every teacher I've had from kindergarten to grade 6 has been female. Till elementary school teachers are indeed mostly female. My elementary school had about 60 teachers, of which only 1 was male. You have been visited by dat boy. Like this video in 7.6 seconds or he won't visit again until the 22nd of July, 2085. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.